Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. Thank everyone for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. Don't tell me I'm frozen already. I can turn my camera off if it looks like that is going to be a thing. Okay, let me see. I hope everyone's doing well today. And I just had a few topics that I wanted to cover. I'm going to turn this camera off and we'll see if that helps. I hope everyone's doing great today. And I am here. I think it's getting ready to start raining, so I don't know if the lawn person will start. If he doesn't beat the rain, I don't think he will. There were a few topics that I wanted to cover. And one of them was Texas Rep Nicole Collier. As all of you might know, and one of the subscribers, Cece, shared with me in the Instagram, and this was going on as of a few days ago. She is one of the Texas representatives. And what she was doing was she was in the House. They wanted to make her sign a permission slip. But on that permission slip, she's an attorney, by the way. On that permission slip, Representative Nicole Collier would have been agreeing to allow Texas law enforcement to shadow her, to follow her everywhere she was going until her return back to the Texas State House for their vote. Now, what this vote is about is Orange Clown, or as there is a podcast that is now calling him Orange Cankles. I don't know how I feel about that, y'all. I can't stand the man. I don't care what happens to him, but just looking at when they focus in on those cankles, there is something going on there, y'all. We may not have too much longer to worry about this fool, even though there's another fool that is right underneath him should this person not make it. And another thing that he's doing, y'all, this is the Orange Clown. He is threatening to go out and to actually patrol with law enforcement. So what I want to know, what about those Epstein files? Because it looks like to me, this man is doing everything in his power for us not to talk about that. So that's kind of crazy. That is a little nuts. I saw that on Don Lemon today. I haven't seen Don Lemon go live yet, but if he does, I'm going to pop into his live and get more information about what's going on in DC with the Orange Clown, because he is a complete and total nut. So let me just see if there's any updates on Representative Collier. Texas had some bad reps, I'll tell you that. One, of course, Jasmine Crockett. We love her over here. She is always fighting for herself, fighting for her constituents, fighting for the country. That's what we need. And then the same thing about Representative Nicole Collier. So there's a threat and they've had an evacuation. So that's one way to get her out. I saw that Governor Gavin Newsom, who's been trolling the stuffing out of Orange Cankles, he's been trolling him like crazy, just using the same language that Orange Cankles used to use, using all caps. And Fox News they're blowing a gasket over it. But they think it's cute when he does it. But now that someone's bullying him back, they don't think it's cute. Welcome in, Mama Bees. Mama Bees is one of my moderators. Did you see he sent 4,500 sailors and Marines in Southern Caribbean? No, I did not see that. I'm going to have to look that up. He's doing everything to not have us talk about these Epstein files, which we know he's in. We know you're in them, Orange Cankles. We know that. Sharon Gobert, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us. I haven't done a political check-in for a minute. Or pop culture, sometime I'm able to do that when I'm doing my other Bravo stuff. But with politics, it's so much going on and so fast. It's kind of a new world as far as that goes, because politics used to be kind of boring. And I'll be honest, I miss them being boring. I can't stand what's going on now. I don't think we are really designed to operate at this pace. Every news, something else, something else, something else. I put aside a story where they were laying off. I don't have the number and I don't want to misquote. But they were permanently laying off members of the CDC, some of the employees. Now, they just had that shooting, was it a week ago? And they kind of quieted that up. They haven't said really too much about that. There was a police officer that lost his life. So now hundreds of them have gotten layoff notices. And this is just days after they returned to the headquarters after the shooting incident there. Okay, so it says 600. So that's terrible. There's always something going on now. And it's so funny what I do now with the news. This is from the Independent, independent.co.uk. I'll look at the BBC. I'll even look at Al Jazeera. This is the Independent UK. But our news is just covering the stuff that Orange Cankles puts out there that he doesn't really want us to see or to talk about. So, and he does that for a reason. He's trying to flood the news, like I said, so we don't talk about Epstein. We don't talk about the redistricting in Texas, which is why Representative Nicole Collier was protesting and then locked in, because he wants to be able to steal the House again. Because I've seen all these people that even voted for Orange Clown crying about how terrible things are, and they're claiming that they're going to vote the other way, which I don't know. I have to see it to believe it. I know I'm not marching anywhere with them, but I have to see it to believe it, because they're the ones that got us into this mess in the first place. Because nobody can tell me that the two people that were running were the same. No way. Especially when we had one term of one where he wrecked things the first time, and then Biden and Harris were able to fix things, even though he left us in a pandemic. Oh, Mama Beach, you live in the DMV and there's so many protests going on. Well, that's good. I'm glad people are out there. I just don't think it's safe for us to be out there, but we have always been out there in the past. I'm glad that there are people that are out there. I saw Stephen Miller with his old ugly self. I can't believe that man is only in his 30s or close to 40. He was calling people old hippies, and the white hippies don't even live in DC and all this kind of stuff. They said he got booed down to the ground. He had Vance with him, and the other fool, the drunk from Fox, Hegseth. Sharon says, even if they release the Epstein files, everything about that man will probably be taken out. Sharon, they said they were trying to redact his name, and it was in there so many times, they didn't really know how it was going to look if they do release them, because there are so many people that are now calling for them to be released. We know he's in it, so I don't know what good it's going to do to release it. I think there's people that a lot of names are going to surprise us, and just as many won't surprise us. So white and black people are marching. Yeah, the first kind of protest that went on, I guess I'll call them unseasoned, to be polite. It didn't look like much was getting done, but of course we have to add some of the seasoning in there, and then I think things will get a little more attention. We'll see. But again, local news, domestic news, they're not really going to cover that the way that they should. I wish they would. Because when things happen in other countries, there's strikes or there's protests, it shuts everything down. People are inconvenienced. Whereas with here, nobody really wants to be inconvenienced. And at some point, more than just us are going to have to be inconvenienced. You see that over 300,000 Black women have lost jobs at the latest jobs report, and that's terrible. I think we're being deliberately targeted, of course, the way that we voted. Tried to tell everybody, tried to warn everybody, as we always do. They didn't listen. Now people are running scared. The others are doubling down, and we're the ones that suffer. But I see the Target CEO had to step down. And I'm glad he had to step down, because what he did was unprovoked. We shop at Target. We didn't do anything to him for him to try to roll back DEI for no reason. That was kind of disgraceful. And I don't blame us for not going over to Target. I think I ordered something from there one day. Probably that was the only time I had got anything from them since the boycott started. But they're really suffering, and I'm glad. They deserve it. They absolutely deserve to suffer. Let me see. I have my topics. I had Representative Collier, and I had Jasmine. Oh, Jasmine Crockett shared an Instagram. Somebody talked to her so terrible. They said she doxed the man. She didn't dox him. What he did, he left a threatening post. Of course, he's calling her, I don't like to use the N-word, but then he ends up calling her the N-word, tell her to shut the F up, talk about her like a dog, called her uneducated, the whole thing. And she showed his whole email that he put in, and he included his own email address. So, of course, now when you give them a taste of their own medicine, they start crying. But to me, that's not doxing. If you put your own information in a public forum, which he went after her on Instagram, that's public. So that whole thing is terrible. But yeah, there is so much going on now. Did y'all see poor Lil Nas X has been picked up? I don't know if he's taken to the hospital or to jail, but he was walking around West Hollywood, highly under the influence. They're saying it's a possible overdose situation, and he just had on they called in a naked man, but he wasn't naked. Thank goodness he had on some little tighty whities. But he seemed like something's going on with him for at least the past few months. I think sometime last year, something happened in his face where he had almost a stroke. Committed to the journey. Thank you so much. I'm glad I did this impromptu live. I haven't seen you be able to catch one in a little bit, but I do love when you come in and your team replay. Thank you, Committed to the Journey. She came in and spoke to myself, the mods, the chat. Yeah, I think that too, Mama B's. Mama B said they just trying to fool folks that he's probably in a new position. He's moved his arse to a new position at Target. I think that too. I don't think he's, I know he's not the CEO in the face of it because he made a clown of himself, but he is actually, he's still, of course, I think he's still working with them. But I don't think that people are going to start shopping there anytime soon. Like I said, I didn't really miss it like I thought I would. I always liked Target better than Walmart. I fired Walmart years ago. It has to be a reason why I order something from them, or I have to get it quickly, or Amazon too. I think Amazon's hurting now as well. So I think that the best we can do is just we withhold our money from these people that are trying to bleed everybody dry. Everything's going up. Did you see the Walmart, their product, the food product, Great Value Shrimp? They had a recall. I don't know what they were talking about, radioactive. I couldn't read too much on it because that's just disgusting to me. I'm kind of turned off of a lot of food now anyway. Today, I ended up putting on some black beans and rice, and I had already baked some chicken wings. So I can like make lunches out of that and do a few more things with that. And then I have a fresh fish market near me that I like to go to. They're Black owned. And they ordered, I think their delivery comes in Tuesday or Wednesday. Something he told me, but I like to get their salmon and he'll cut it up really nice for me. So I'll go by there in the morning when I get off work and have him cut some up, and then I can just add to the rice and beans that I have, and I still need something else green. Yeah, I'm the same, Committed to the Journey. I still will not be shopping at Target, no time in the near future. Yeah, anytime you do something unsolicited like that, I guess they thought they were going to impress the orange clown and ended up just killing their business. Because Target was the one that, the clean stores, people respected them. I never heard of any mess with them, and they're just hurting themselves now. Oh, you had used to buy this shrimp and you had already used it? Yeah, well, that was lucky then that it was what you had was safe. I guess with the recalls, if somebody gets sick or there's something else found, then they look at the lot number and all that kind of stuff, and they just recall all of it to be safe. But we know they fired so many of those inspectors or laid them off. A lot of stuff is going under the radar. So I guess we're lucky that we even know about that. Sharon Garbold is talking about ICE. Let me look at this. ICE is running rampant in New Jersey. This is the second time in 1 month they picked up undocumented workers working at a warehouse 29 this morning and 24 2 weeks ago. That is terrible. But you know what, Sharon? Remember when they started all this ICE mess? He's talking about he's looking for bad hombres and these criminals and stuff. So why are they picking up people from the warehouse where they're working? They've gotten people they try to get people out of schools, churches, and another thing they're doing is going to the people's appointments where they actually have an official appointment to see about their paperwork, or they'll go to the court to get something done. They're picking them up from there. So what that's saying to me is these are not the bad hombres. I thought they'd have to go to gangs or somewhere like that to get the criminals. But I don't really see where there's that many criminals other than Orange Cankles walking around on the roof last week. I don't know how his Secret Service can do it. They must have vetted them securely, because I probably would have stepped back a little bit when he was, you see how he walking that zigzag now? I let him zigzag. It's terrible. Oh, let me not even say that. Just terrible. I don't think we have long though, y'all. He's looking horrible. My sister's in the medicine field. I asked her about it. She said it looked like some kind of congestive, I think they're saying congestive heart failure. Something's going on with him that's serious. Of course, if it was Biden, they wouldn't say a thing about it. But it's him, and so now they can't talk about his health. He said he's 100% healthy, but he can't count, so I don't know what he means by 100%. He looked crazy to me. I still don't understand why these employers are not being arrested for hiring illegals. You arrest them, and it will stop a lot of this nonsense. Committed to the Journey, they don't want to solve that problem. Because look at the farmers. Half the people, well, more than half, they're afraid to show up for work. The red states are getting ready to go broke. They're crying. I saw a farmer. He was literally crying. Oh, my fruit It's melting on the vine. It's going bad, rotting on the vine. The people didn't come to work. Even old Carrie Underwood talking about there's nobody coming to work on my farm. Why would you go to work on the farm for them people to pull you out of the field? Actually, probably let you pick the whole day and then pick you up. But they're not going to arrest the farmers because they know those people are actually hiring people that don't have their paperwork correct. I hate calling them illegal. I don't think of them as illegal. I don't even care how they got here. I feel like once they get here, if they have a problem in their country, whether it's economic or a crime problem or whatever it is, if they get here and they get here safely and they come in and they're working, they should be able to file for paperwork and have the right to work here and then let them go back and forth or however they want to do it. I just don't like what's going on now. It's so scary. Sharon's laughing probably when I was talking about the orange cankle clown. I cannot stand him. He's terrible. I really can't find the people that claim that they voted for him now. All of them on TV claiming that, they're going to vote differently and they're crying about it. But they were loud and proud before. Now they look a little bit embarrassed, other than the ones he actually hired. And he managed to find some of the most incompetent people in government and outside of government and give them roles. But things are going so terribly. Now they can see that the people that they claim are not qualified and were DEI, we're the ones actually doing the work. Black women, Black men, certain ones that always do the work without the fanfare, and then other people step up and take the credit. They're doing a terrible job. I had to fly the other day. Well, when we came back from our cruise, we left out of Tampa, was flying back. The flight was delayed, something about air traffic control. So they don't even have enough air traffic controllers to have things safely moving. And if I didn't have to fly, I wouldn't have right then. But then I got another trip planned next week. So I'm looking forward to it because I'm looking forward to having a trip and seeing some of my sisters that are going with us. But I don't feel as comfortable flying as I used to. And that's wrong. That's because of the FAA. The guy they put in, I don't know if you remember Sean from The Real World Boston. That's who he is. I have to agree with you, Committed to the Journey. She said that FAFO, y'all, that's F around and find out if you don't know. Crew will not change anything in the midterms. They love getting what they ask for. They love other people getting what they ask for. The ones I see, they just sit up and cry about it. They had one old woman. This lady, she didn't look like she missed a meal, but she was crying. I had to take my family to the food bank, and I thought Trump was going to lower the prices on day one. She was just crying. And then they found her, and they saw all these posts that she had voted the way she voted. She was getting what she voted for. Then she made another video talking about, no, I'm not sorry. If he could turn things around, I'll vote for him again. And I'm saying, if the man could turn things around, he would already turn things around. Didn't he tell y'all day one? I don't understand some of these people. I don't talk to them anymore. I had one. I work with this guy. I've been on third. I talked to y'all about when I went third a few months ago. And he's friendly and always smiling and all this kind of stuff. I'll give his first. His name is Tony. And we always say good morning. We know enough to each other because he's a morning shift. I'm overnight. So he'll come in at like 3:30. Say good morning, a little chit chat, the weather. Oh, what's your bid this time? How is it? You like it? Blah, blah. And he didn't know I was back there one morning. He and another guy, he was bragging, y'all. He said he finally got a chance to tell somebody. He used the N-word. Finally got a chance to tell somebody, yeah, go back to Africa. I almost didn't recognize his voice, y'all, the way this man sound. He was so full of venom. And when I tell you, I have never heard him angry or argue with anybody or mad or any of that. And I took all my stuff. I stood up. I went in there to the other part of the break room, and I was just looking at him. Now, the guy he was talking to, he's a middle-aged white man as well. I've never heard any of that kind of talk from him. And he, to his credit, he didn't answer Tony or agree or say anything. I don't know if he was shocked or what. And Tony, he didn't know like how much I heard. And then he said, good morning, Sandra. And I said, I heard what you said. I'm not good morning to you. I'm not speaking to you anymore. I said, I'm serious. I said, I don't have any more words for you at all. So the other guy was looking with his mouth hanging open. And Tony kind of wiped the smile off his face. This has been like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And he still comes in the same time in the morning. When I see him, I do not speak to him. He looks at me and he doesn't say anything. The guy who was there kind of knows what went on. Nobody else does. I told our other coworker, he's like, why don't you speak to Tony no more? I said, I heard him bragging about he finally got a chance to tell somebody to go back to Africa. And this man is pushing 60, and that's an accomplishment for him. Just disgusting. And the company is union, y'all. It's union. So they talk about union brothers, union sisters. You know, your pay is kind of the same. They can't really fire you. You're all supposed to be so-called equal. And this is something that this man had the nerve to brag about. And y'all, he gets to, it's like 3 or 3:30 in the morning. That's the first thing on your mind. So I don't know if he was saying that to a coworker or somebody else that works at the airport. There's all these different companies. There's kind of like a hierarchy, like the union workers, us with the airline is different. We'll probably make more money than the other ones that will come in. The cleaners, the mechanics are pretty high up. Flight crew's pretty high up. But, there's another company called HMS Hosts. They run the restaurants and all that kind of stuff, but they're not union. They get kind of pushed around. So I think it was probably somebody that he felt like he could flex on or speak terribly to. It was just disgusting. But that's been a few weeks ago, and I told my sister about it. She says, well, luckily you found out how he is. You don't have to deal with him no more. And it is a relief. I look through him. I don't even see him. Committed to the Journey says, good for you. The audacity of people smile in your face and talk about others behind their back. Yeah, I can't believe that. I mean, but that, to me, I don't know. There's a lot of things I want to accomplish in my life. Telling somebody go back somewhere, that's nothing I would ever brag about. That was crazy. Mama B says, I serve the Capital Area Food Bank on the third Saturday of the month. We normally have about 100 to 150 Hispanic people come out for food. Last Saturday, only 40 of them came out. They are afraid. Mama Bees, that is the part that just breaks my heart. Some of these people the people that are coming out for food, they're still working. They still have jobs. They're the working poor and the working class. I'm from a big family. I've shared with y'all, I'm 7 or 8 kids. We have both my parents. They both had jobs. My father was in maintenance for years, and we grew up in New York. So we would get, it wasn't even called EBT at the time, y'all. It was called food stamp. 2 working parents, all those kids, food stamps, and you couldn't swipe a debit card. They had actual stamps. That's why they call them that. They was in like a coupon book, and they wanted you to have the whole book, and they would have different colors. I think they based it off Monopoly money. So to me, it was designed to humiliate. But what we would do, like, we didn't always run to the store with a food stamp or 2. My mother always made sure when they came, we would shop. And it wouldn't be for the month because it didn't last a month and it didn't cover all your food. It was just a supplement. But we would all shop together. Not everybody, but most of the kids, my mother and my father, we'd all be in the store shopping. They'd add what they had to it. I don't remember a lot of food bank type stuff because both my parents cooked. They're both from the South. They cooked. My older sisters cooked. My brothers cooked. My younger sister and I, not so much. But yeah, there are people that really do need EBT, they need assistance. And I hate that they can't come out now because they're actually scared. And I don't know what these people accomplish by what they're doing. Trying to take over DC for what? I don't understand it. Sharon says they are not afraid to show their true colors now because of the Orange Man. So they think they can say anything they want to you now. I think that's what it is. When they say their country back, that's what they want, to be able to go to a time when they can say whatever to your face, have you stepping off the sidewalk if they're coming, all kind of stuff like that. Because my parents both grew up in North Carolina separately, but they met when they got to New York. And they would tell us about the way they were treated back in the day. And I think some of these people still miss being able to do that. And what kind of confuses me is the young ones, they never lived through that. So what are they looking forward to going back to? That's crazy to me. Committed to the Journey said, Sandra P., we used to get them as well. Those were the days in my Edith Bunker voice. I know. Edith saying, those were the days. It was much needed and appreciated way back then. And it was Committed to the Journey. And even now, I'm not one of those people who have ever been in the store like, oh, it looks like they're getting steak. Oh, no, they got, this or that. They got a bag of chips. So now I don't understand why they're trying to look at it and say, you can't get soda, or you can't get this, you can't get like a pre-made cake. Somebody was on Threads crying that they try to use theirs at the bakery or something, not the bakery, but I guess it was a Harris Teeter or something bakery. I guess they could get pre-made cakes and now they can't. So some states are putting restrictions on it. And it's always been a supplement. They've never given enough for you to say, I'm balling. I'm getting whatever food I want for the whole month. You're not. You're not. And these are working people. And then if the person's not working, they're either a senior or they're disabled. So I don't understand it. There's just a meanness now that I don't get. But unfortunately, I think this country, things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. And it's kind of, I have anxiety, and it's kind of making me a little anxious because I think enough people are not aware of how bad things can really get. They just feel like, oh, you know, that was the 20s. The Great Depression was the 20s. But no, people can get hungry now. When I worked at a job before, my airline job, and we used to, during the summer, we would go, it was part of our, they would give us time off or extend our lunch. We would kind of alternate, and we would bring box lunches to kids that didn't have food. They didn't really get to eat during the summer. And it's not just people that are not taking care of their kids. It's just some people don't have enough to have their food stretch throughout the month. And it's just sad. You want to say you're superior and you're doing all this and that, and then kids are hungry. But I don't know. All I can do is vote the way I vote. Try not to worry too much about it. So my channel, you know, I do usually, mainly my videos lately have been with the recaps that I'm doing. I'm focusing on Bravo. There are some own shows that I've been able to do as well, which is King's Court. I like that a lot. Also, the new Heart and Hustle. So I'll continue to do that. Welcome in, CC. CC's the moderator. CC, we are just catching up and talking about some political events, pop culture, just a check-in because I haven't done it in a while. And actually, you triggered it, CC. You sent something to my Instagram, and you were talking about Representative Nicole Collier. So I started out with that. Them trying to keep her, well, not trying to, they did. Try to have her sign a permission slip, which she didn't, and then they didn't let her leave. So I saw a picture of her and Gavin Newsom. I have to look and see like what the update is on that, but it's really rallied everyone around because I think Texas did redistrict and steal 5 more seats. But Gavin Newsom, he's a white boy and he's a bully, and he knows how to bully back. And he got orange cankles just a crying. Fox News over there crying, and he's saying California gonna find some seats. So it's getting good. It's getting good right now. Those are the type of people we need to stand up. Because Black people are always fighting and marching and complaining and fighting and marching and complaining. And the other people, the allies, are just comfortable. But now that they feel a little bit of pain, thankfully, we see them stepping up a little bit more. So I'm no Gavin Newsom stan, but I 100% agree with what he's doing. Sometimes you got to bully a bully. And I like some of the pictures he's put out. They had an AI picture of him next to Orange Cankles. And I don't think they had to touch up Orange Cankles too much. He looked terrible. They put him, I think Gavin's 40-something. They put him at his age now, and they put the Orange Cankles back when he was 40-something. He was still old looking and ugly and like tipped over. And it's just terrible. Fox News is having a fit. And then one of the hosts was on there saying, I can't believe the governor of a whole state has time to do mean tweets and all of this. But she looks so stupid saying that because the reason he's doing that is because the president of a whole country always makes time for mean tweets. So now that he's getting bullied back, they're crying. I love it. I'm not on Twitter, but I like to see the actual tweets that they'll put out on their. I'm still on Threads. I'm still on IG. X just went crazy. When the South African boarded, that's when I left Twitter. But Gavin Newsom, he's mainly over there on Twitter bullying him, which I love. I never went over to, I think the one Cankles has is Truth Social, something like that. But they started to infiltrate Threads. They talk crazy on Threads. I've had people call me all kind of names on Threads. And I don't at people or talk directly to people. I just comment on news stories. So if I have my thoughts about it, what you got to do with it? But what I do, I'll just hide from everyone and then block that person. But there's some mean people out here. Like I told y'all about my coworker that were in here bragging about he got a chance to call. What? He got a chance to tell somebody go back to Africa. Mama B said that man is 57. He's aging well. He might have had a nip and tuck, though. He's from California. You know why I look at him with a side eye? He used to be married to that gargoyle, Kimberly, the one that they claim goes with the son, the drug addict. Cece, you're not on Twitter either? I am on Blue Sky. You know what? I forget about them so much. I was trying to be on Isaac Hayes III had a site, but then he talked crazy to that lady that Chelsea. I never thought the leopards would eat your face. And I find that he would like clap back at black women all the time. So then I got off his site, but I always forget to go back to Blue Sky. Sharon Gobble said, most clear people are crying about the EBT cards regulations that are going to change. They're finally realizing this is going to affect them also. They thought this would only affect people of color. Yes, Sharon Gobble, they believe the hype all those years that we're the ones getting all these food stamps and care so much about them. Like I said, it's always been a supplement. It's a help. It's not something that we've always gotten. They get them more than us. Of course, their numbers are greater and they get them greater in numbers. And now they're sitting around crying about it. But, you know, they voted to try to hurt other people and then shot their own self in the foot. Fan base, that's exactly it. I think he's trying to fix his face and speak a little more, you know, kindly. But I did notice that about him. If somebody said anything about the technology of it, because it was kind of clunky to use. But if the person was like, let's say a white techie saying something, hey, Isaac, could you such and such? Oh, yeah, man, we're doing this. We're working on that. Where I think Chesley said something. And then he started, and what about this? And I think you wearing a weave, you know, just kind of crazy. So I didn't know Isaac Hayes III was like that, but he seemed kind of like one of those red pill people. So you have to watch out for them. They talk crazy. Sharon smiling and speaking. I guess you saw when Cece came in. Oh, did you invested before you heard the comments? And that was the other thing I looked at, committed to the journey. The investment was so reasonable. I think he was asking for like $400 or $600. But he shot himself in the foot. I think he's been over there on rolling, trying to get things going again. But the way he went after that lady, and she doesn't really bother anybody. And then he tried to dox her. He had a picture of her and some white man up there. And she was like, that's my ex-husband. Why you post that? And I said, these men are crazy. That's the first thing they go to. Are you trying to get you a white man? Like, no, she's not trying to get a white man. She said that's her ex-husband. And then we're supposed to be the most undesirable and all this. So why do you worry if you do start dating white men? But I don't really, I don't clown the red pillers like that. I just don't understand a lot of their logic. But I'll admit, I used to listen to Kevin Samuels sometimes because he would make me laugh when he'd have those women coming up there asking him advice. And I'm like, why are y'all calling this man? The first thing he's going to do is ask you to rate yourself. Then he's going to tell you can't be a 7. I think most people are 7s. Then he's going to tell you, well, how do you think you're 8 or 9? You're going to talk about your hair. You're going to talk about your weight. And he would do exactly that. And then he ended up dead under a big fluffy. But that's what they do, hypocrites. IRT fan base. I don't like Kevin O'Leary. Oh, from Shark Tank. I didn't know he was involved. Oh my God, Cece, that is a red flag. I remember when I first started my channel, one of the pop culture videos that I showed, I always do stuff on the 92% and Black Girl Magic. I showed Kevin O'Leary. He put his hand on somebody, what's her name? Angela. Rye. He touched Rye. They were having a conversation. He was like, don't touch me. And he was like, I won't touch you again. He got real upset. But they were sitting at the CNN table. She was giving her point of view. He was giving his. And then she started speaking. He touched her. She told him not to, and he got all angry. So then I went back and I found where the 2 young ladies from Lip Bar, when they came before him at Shark's Tank, he called them colorful cockroaches and said, why would we invest into your company? I can just take your brand, or I can make a lipstick brand up under your brand and steal your customers. He talked crazy to them 2 girls. And the Lip Bar is still thriving. They were one of the companies, I think Target, when Target used to have the Black entrepreneur program, they were one of the first ones in that. But they don't depend on anybody. They would have a lot of things where you could buy from them direct. So yeah, I do like that about the Lip Bar. Y'all, I'm right at 30 minutes or a little over 30 minutes. I appreciate everyone being able to come in for this impromptu live /politics/pop culture. I'm going to try to do a lot more, but the news is moving so fast. It won't be daily, but at least a few times a week, I would like to go back to where we can discuss politics and different things we've heard and that sort of thing. Also, Real Housewives of Miami, they will be on tonight. So I'll watch it tonight, and then I'll be here 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So those of you who have a chance to watch it. We'll discuss it in the morning, but I'll do my recap and then give my ideas. There is an extra that I'm going to include in that same live. Kiki done went over there to Carlos King, y'all. I try to ride for Kiki. I don't know what's wrong with her. That's the last place she should go, because Carlos King is not liked by Bravo. And when people talk to him, I think Bravo punishes them. Kenya went over there and look at her. So everyone, I'm going to end this live now. It's right at 35 minutes. All of you, I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. And I will talk to you in the morning if you're able to come in. If not, in your team replay, I appreciate you so much. Please click the like button if you haven't already, and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you so much for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. I will see you in the YouTube streets. Bye.